Paris Lounge.
Paris Lounge.
Hey. Hi,
Hey.
everybody. I'm Jamie Kaler. I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime, Mr. Jason Gowan. How are you today, Jason?
Hello. How are you, bud?
I'm good, man. I'm better now.
You had a weekend.
Tuesday, I put the kids. I'm like, you're in here. Here I go. And then it's utter mayhem.
Can I got to tell you, it's my absolute favorite thing to listen. Just what goes on with your family pre-show.
Do you want to share? Because I don't. It's all a blur. Like it's all like hazy, static, blackout, and then I'm sitting here and I'm like, here we go. But I know I'm wandering the house, like trying to set the kids up where they're going to be.
I just kept hearing, Hannah, get your hat. Hannah Elizabeth, get your hat.
She so they're at camp this week, right? And my kids are alabaster gingers, and we're in California, which is basically on the surface of the sun. And so, we're trying to, it might be considered child abuse by keeping children who are redheads in Southern California. But so every day I have to put kabuki makeup white, I just hose them down. And my wife's a lunatic about it. And then they have to wear hats. And then, so she takes the hat to camp, and then I go to pick them up from camp, and you're like, where's your hat? Where's your thermos? Where's your, everything's gone. And then we have to go to the lost and found. And then today, just now, I looked out in the front yard and her hat's under a tree in the front yard. I'm like, dude, get your hat.
That's life-saving. That's life-saving gear for her.
This whole week was mayhem. We have such a great show, don't we, today?
So much. I'm super excited. He came to visit us once before, but I'm excited he's coming back. It's going to be great. He's
an old pal of mine. He lives in a different state now, but we did a bunch of things when we were first out here, and I was kind of the newbie falling into the dad parenting brand of comedy, and he was already pretty well established. Our guest today is, of course, Taylor Calmus, otherwise known as Dude Dad, also known as Heidi's husband, I believe is his actual.
What do they call? What's her official title? Is she Dude Mom? What is Heidi?
I believe she's Dude Mom, but I believe, trust me, she's
she's the star of that show. There's no question about that.
I mean, the question is, it's we always defer to our wives, and we're like. I mean, people ask me questions. I go, dude, you're asking the wrong person. Ask the wife. She knows what's happening. So, how was your week?
It's a blur, and I have literally been trying to pull moments to talk about today. But let me ask you this: when your girls were when they were small, because we never had this problem with Jace, but did they just inherently? Did they just screw shoes? I don't want shoes. They're not going to deal with shoes. They were you put them on 84 times in a day, and they just keep pulling them off. And the twins, because there are two at the exact same time, it's almost like a shoe tossing competition. I can't take it.
They always would do it in the car. And so you drive to the store, and then you'd go, okay, let's get in the store. And then you'd try to pull them out of the car, and they took their shoes off in the store all the time. We still, dude, it's every day with the shoes. I will tell you, my kids.
Wait, it's still going on?
Oh, it's still going on. With shoes, they can't find the right shoes. They're all over the place. It's an actual grade, when you get to school in kindergarten, and I think even in second grade, and it's my daughter's worst grade. Both of them, it's their worst grades.
Wait, shoes is a grade?
Yeah. Tying shoes is a grade.
Tying.
Unable to tie shoes. Claire had outstanding, except for doesn't know her phone number, and I shouldn't say this because that makes her she's easy pickings. She doesn't know her phone number, and she can't tie her shoes.
So she's barely hanging. How much damage did you do hitting her head off the wall?
Pretty much. Hannah can't really tie her shoes either, and she's she'll tell people, I can tie my shoes. And then she'll put on Velcro straps. And people go, well, you didn't. She goes, she's that kind of liar. Oh, I can do that. Even though she cannot.
Well, she lied about being potty trained, right?
That's the one. Yeah, she lied about being potty trained. See, she just goes along. She's yeah, don't worry about it. She's this generation where they go, if you said, hey, do you know anything about Henry Ford? They go, I know everything about Henry Ford. and you go, well, tell me some stuff. And then they would just go to a YouTube video. Here, just watch this. I'll save you the time. Like, this generation really doesn't need to know anything because everything's right in the palm of their hand. So
yeah, and they, I don't know, it's such a different dynamic now. And like I'm about a month and a half away from my son going down the kindergarten rabbit hole. And I don't know quite what to expect because I've not done this before. I know that when we went for kindergarten registration, it was me and all moms. Mm-hmm. And we're walking along. And of course, I have the only child who is, number one, screaming. Number two, just being belligerent. And he went in to do like all the testing, I guess maybe to check shoes, numbers, all that. And the lady who was doing his evaluation walked away. And he starts screaming to me from across the gym, "Ah! Can you hear me?" And he's like Will Ferrell in Old School. He's like, right. "Mom, meatloaf!" And he's screaming at me. And I looked over, and like all the other moms are already disapproving. And I just looked at the lady who was running the testing. I'm like, "Do you just want to show me where the office is now? I'll have a standing Friday date."
Yeah. She's like, "By the way, he failed the test, just so you're on the same." This was the test. You failed. I feel like sometimes the test is irrelevant. I remember when we had to like go to kindergartens to see if she could get into kindergarten. I forget how it went, but they would go, we have to give her a little test, and the parents would go in the room, and they go, no, not you. And they would keep the parents out and then chat with the kid in the room alone to go like, "Hey, are your parents okay? And are they crazy?"
And I also heard a mom trying to justify her daughter's score. And she's like, well, she knows it at home and she does it. And I was like, look, if my kid didn't do it, I'm not going to be able to help you. Like,
that's this generation too. It's like we all live vicariously through our children. I guess our parents did in a way, but I don't think to that measure. But yeah, everything's, all kids are not created equal, man. It's taken me a while because you sit there, and we talked about this before about how you like, why doesn't my kid get special treatment? And the question is, why does any kid get special treatment? You should just be lucky. My father never even knew what happened at school. I just walked to the bus station. But yeah, nowadays,
mine never had that issue because I was such a crushing disappointment from day one.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I just set the bar very, very low, and I stayed there.
Well, I was the youngest of 6, so by the time I came around, my parents were like, just survive, do what you got to do. They were beat up for it, so
it happens.
I did get to tape my special this week.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
Super fun, dude. So we recorded 2 shows. I rented a rehearsal studio, invited 30 friends for 2 seatings, one group at 7 and one group at 9. And yes, look who's here. Actually, you know what? Let's bring him in, and then we'll chat about this for sure because he'll get a kick out of this. Our guest today is he is. I mean, I feel like everybody already knows him, right?
They did, and we blasted it everywhere ever. Like if you've been on the internet in the last 3 years, you know who he is.
Yeah, I mean his videos are great. All the little contraptions he builds for his kids, and then the dads of Target with the wives and the husbands of Target is amazing. Like I couldn't do the math to figure out the billions of views he's already gotten. But what I'm really excited for is he has a brand new show coming out on the Magnolia Network on Discovery Plus. There's 1 episode up now, but the whole season's going to be out. It's called Super Dad, where it's a great, he helps dads build stuff for their kids. It's super cool. But everyone knows him as the Dude Dad. Taylor Calmus is here today. Taylor!
No, Taylor, get in here. They're starting the interview. Taylor! Sorry, guys. That was my Aunt Linda.
I saw her from the 4th of July video.
4th of July video.
She's the host with the most, I believe. Isn't she slicing up watermelons and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that person. I've been that person for sure. Like when you have a bunch of people over and you just are trying to keep everything going. Honestly, I think I got wig hair on me now. What it always is you grill up all of the hot dogs and all the hamburgers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you take them off, and you know, as you're looking at them on the grill, you're like, oh, these are perfect. These are perfect. These are going to be delicious. You take them off the grill, you put them on the plate, and then what happens?
They get cold.
They just sit there. Nobody takes one because they don't want to be the first one to take one, and then the pile of burgers just sit there. I'm gonna get cold.
You got to do a whole tutorial on it. I honestly never for me because I have no qualms about breaking the. I'll go first. I'll also take the last slice. Not even a thought about it.
Right in front of pregnant women, I've seen him do it.
Sometimes I don't even wait for the burgers to be cooked. I'll just take them off mid-cooking.
He'll eat it raw. That guy will eat just raw roast beef. I used to be that guy who was like, oh, I don't want to break the seal, but now I'll go to a kid's birthday. I'll cut the cake long before they ever get a chance. I'll just take a slice out of the back. And they go to sing Brendan Happy Birthday and the R's missing. I'm already like, Kayla, did you cut the cake? It looked delicious. And it is delicious.
I already ate my 2 slices of pizza. This is the next thing. And then we can go home.
Dude, so we watched, the show's amazing.
So good,
you watched it? Oh,
we
good.
did, yes,
We
so
did.
good.
It's amazing. For everyone out there, I won't do it justice. Describe what the show is and what you do. And by the way, you made me cry a little bit. Not cool.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Tell
Maybe.
everyone what the show is and the premiere date and what you're doing with some other stuff. I don't want to make any rules here.
All right, so the show is called Super Dad, and it's airing on. Well, it's a part of the Magnolia Network, but Magnolia is going to have their own app that's going to be a part of Discovery Plus because they're all one company, whatever. So it's airing on July 15th, which is coming up. The show's called Super Dad. I come alongside other dads to help them build really cool things for their kids in their backyard. So all kinds of big playhouses and tree houses and forts and this and that. And it is a build show, but it's not a show about building structures. It's a show about building memories. Because what we're really out to do is to, help these men create something really cool for their kids that they'll go on to, make memories with for years to come. And it'll mean so much more knowing that their dad was the one that built it. So I come along and help them, but and this is true, when we're filming, I make sure that dad puts in some sweat equity on the thing. Obviously we got a whole crew helping us do it and stuff, but every single one of them gets down and dirty, gets sweaty, uses some power tools. And while we're doing it, we're having all these great conversations, and each one of them have their own story of how they became a dad or what fatherhood means to them. So while I'm teaching them about construction, I'm also trying to, learn something from them along the way about their story of fatherhood and some life lessons that they have. So.
Well, it's so funny you say that because it was great. The dialogue was fantastic, and all of a sudden, everybody's learning about everybody's path of parenthood. But what really struck me was what you just said about, your childhood. I know you were a big BMX guy, and you were building ramps in your backyard. But if we all kind of think back to our childhood, you remember those 3 or 4 things. We built a tree house. We had a certain thing in the backyard that we did, and I can envision the whole thing. And I think those are the memories that really bond a parent to a child.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Because for those first 10 years of your life, not that much happens, but the tree house, that's this big thing that's yours and becomes
it's monumental. You never forget that.
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes a part of your central piece of your childhood that's the pinnacle of my childhood is our treehouse that my dad built. And I remember every single aspect of that thing. Looking back, I think it was probably 5 foot by 5 foot, but it was 2 stories and it had 2 trap doors and 2 more doors, no windows. It was pitch black when you close that thing. Rope swing out of it. me and my brother both fell out of that thing several times and got like really injured.
Definitely.
I remember one time I was like, I had this rope ladder and I had it like hooked to the side of it, and I was swinging like around the whole side of the treehouse, and the rope ladder broke and I just fell to the ground and got hurt. So I'm in the house laying on the couch, just injured, when my dad gets home, and my dad comes in and is like, well, you know, what happened? What did you hit? And I said, the ground. And he goes, all right, well, I'm not going to feel sorry for you, you little shit.
That's funny.
Is that where you learned all your stuff? I'm sorry, Jamie, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is that where you learned all your skill with building, is from your dad?
Some of it, my dad actually, and he still does to this day, sells construction equipment. So he knows his way around tools. He has access to a lot of tools. So he brings stuff home for me and my brother to use. And he's fairly handy, but we also started working, me and my brother, when I say we, started working for a local carpenter in high school. So that's where I really learned a lot of like my true like craftsman skills is from framing houses for like, I mean, all through high school and then like every summer through college.
I'm so jealous. God, I wish I did, because I still like, look at wood and I go, I'd love to build something, but you put a sink in my house one day. I begged you to help me, and you helped me. You were over here. We were doing some podcast or something, and you were like, yeah, I'll throw a sink in. I had to put the faucet in. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I still think it'd make a great show.
This is like the third time I've heard of Jamie conning his friends into doing work at his house for him.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do this.
We all have skills.
No, that's not my skills. My father was not
your skill is pulling the right people in to make things happen.
I am a delegator. I'm a really good delegator. That is absolutely
important.
True.
That's important to have.
Hey, really quick. Also, dude, as soon as we posted Dad was on, everybody and their mother, mostly women. You have a very large female fan base, by the way. They were all so excited. And I talk about how it started, because I've seen some videos where you were, you did theater and film and stuff and sketch, and then you kind of started this crazy little journey that has blossomed into, into a corporation. It's pretty crazy what you've accomplished. It is pretty amazing.
Yes. I clicked the wrong button and I can't see you guys now. What's this thing called? Hold on. I got to find it again.
Did you click a button?
Oh.
Well, you're still here.
Yeah, I know. I just can't see you guys. And okay, hold on.
Oh, there we go.
Back into the screen. Can you see me now?
Oh no! I clicked the wrong tab.
Oh, he can't find the tab that he's in.
I can't. This is my life.
Tabs you have open. It'll say StreamYard on it, by the way.
StreamYard. It has a little icon of a duck.
A duck. Okay. All right, that's helpful.
So you're great at construction, but tabs and simple.
Well, here's the thing: my tabs look like my brain. There's like 140 of them open, and I only need and then I'll misplace a tab. Okay, all right, hold on. This is sorry. Oh, here it is. I found it.
Oh,
there we go. He's back.
All right. So first off, I want to address the whole large following of women thing. So the new fun thing is like if I get recognized in public by a man, literally it has to be 8 out of 10 times they'll say, "Hey, Dad, right? Oh, dude, my wife loves your videos." They all say it. It's becoming like a joke because it's every single time. And they'll be like, "Oh, cool, your wife likes them." "Oh, no, I like them too. She always shows them to me." But it's funny. So I now have the belief that there is a lot of men that watch the videos as well, but they aren't like on social media and their wife has to show it to them, or they don't have an account. They're just not, they're not as interactive with it, but they're there. Yeah.
I'm not. None of us are, dude. So I don't know about you. Most of the time, I'm not on social media. I'm watching television. Like I'm watching an old movie or some crazy thing, and my wife will like look up from her phone to go like, "Are you watching TV again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's the same as your phone. It's the
Just
same.
bigger.
It's just bigger, and the stories are better." But she's like, my wife's constantly, scrolling somewhere, and she does the exact same thing. She's like, "Hey, you should see this," and then you'll watch it. So yeah, I don't. It's amazing to me though, right? I just feel like those guys are more. Women are more interactive on social media.
For sure. I mean, I am because it's what I do. But
we'll talk about that. We talked about the beginning of the origins of like. I just love the story. You were doing other stuff, and then you were talking to Heidi, and you were like, "Hey, man, I'm doing this." I just love. You know what I also will say is that. I know a bunch of people who do stuff online and everything. You are maybe the most genuine. What you see is what you get. Like, and I love that. And I think that's why your brand pops so much more.
Yeah.
You can feel the sincerity.
It's not an act. It's not an act. It's who you are. It's beautiful. And so, and Heidi's part of the team and the whole thing. Talk about the creation of the whole thing. I think people are so intrigued by somebody who reaches this status on social media. And they're all like, how did they get there?
Yeah.
They don't understand you worked 100 hours a week for years trying to build this.
So that's, So I gave a talk. Oh man, I think it was like a year and a half ago now. I don't know, whenever, before COVID, pre-COVID. I gave a talk at Dad 2.0. It's a big conference for dad influencers, basically. Which whenever I tell people that, they're like, what? That exists? That's a thing? But the theme of my talk was like, I basically was telling the origin story of how Dude Dad started and where it, came from. And every time I'd have like this success, this reoccurring theme of the talk was, and then I had my big break, and it would happen over and over and over again. Cause the reality is like, there wasn't one big break. It's constantly going back and pushing forward and pushing forward and pushing forward. And anybody that like, I mean, anytime you see somebody, you're like, oh my God, they blew up overnight. And you're like, nah, doubt it. Like maybe one video finally went viral for him and it took off. But if he continues to do it, he or she continues to do it, it's probably because he knows what he's doing now, because he's been working at it for a long time before that, and that's my story of like, I try to take your route, Jamie, and like pursue acting. And, like it's just a really hard business to get into, especially when I started getting into it, because it's very competitive. And there's a billion other dudes that look just like me. And you gotta, you get basically 2 minutes to prove yourself in that room. And if you don't, then, or you had an off day, or, casting director needed to pee, who knows, but I did that for a while. And then, eventually I had some success, but it wasn't enough to pay the bills. And then all of a sudden when, Heidi got pregnant, it was kind of like a do or die thing of like, okay, well, is this realistic? Can I keep doing this? Because I'm not making enough money. I was realistic. I'm like, I'm probably going to have to do something else because I have a family to feed. I can't just phone it in anymore. I think at the time, Heidi and I, our joint income for the year was like $32,000 living in Los Angeles. It was just like nothing, because she was working nonprofit and I was apartment manager. So I didn't have a real salary. I just got free rent. So that helped. But either way, we didn't have a savings account. If we had $5,000 in the bank, that would have been it, But anyway, so I started Dude Dad just as a way to stay creative while continuing to, while being a dad, and then got, it was a slow start, but you could tell people really enjoyed it. And it took probably like 2 years to really it took a year to figure out like, okay, this is my thing. and then, okay, this is how you make a viral video. And then just honing that in for the next 3 years of like, okay, this is how you consistently make viral videos.
Right.
And once I got that figured out and, got that formula and then like started breaking it off so it wasn't just one formula, but multiple types of content so that we have a variety in our library and people don't just get bored if we put up the same type of video every single week. So that was like that was a lot of learning, I guess. But
I equate it to in comedy, when you first start, you think you have a few jokes and they're funny,
mm-hmm.
but when you talk to people, they go, you don't have a point of view yet. We don't know your point of view. Like when I went to Montreal Comedy Festival, and that was the big thing. It was like you would present a 7-minute routine, and they would watch it, and they'd be like, yeah, there's some funny. We don't know who you are yet.
Yeah.
When you see Rodney Dangerfield tell one joke, you know exactly who that guy is. Jim Gaffigan. These guys, Bill Burr. One joke and you know exactly that dude's point of view. And I feel the same way about your videos. When I see any of your videos, I know exactly who you are. And you can say it was trial and error and you got to a point, but you found a way to get your point of view about the world. Because I tell people all the time, I go, that's who he is. He's not, that's who he is. It's just, that's within the confines of it.
Well, that's what makes it easier too.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But so many people cannot. They try to emulate somebody else and they are like mimicking other people. And you really forge this thing by continually building and stuff. You went to school for film and theater, right?
I went to school in South Dakota for, I got a liberal arts degree for communication studies and theater. They tack that communications thing on there to make sure that your parents are going to pay for it. It's funny. And I won't discredit my experience there because I think, some of the people that I had as professors there that helped push me and helped give me the courage and the balls to pursue it. I definitely got that there. But, if I were to at one point there, one of them was asking me to come back and talk at some what do you call it, do some kind of workshop or whatever for college kids that want to potentially move to LA to be actors. And I'm like
an alumni speech of some kind.
Yeah. And I'm like, you don't want me to do that because what I'm going to say is, okay, raise your hand if you are seriously want to get into the film and TV industry. And then everyone raises their hand. I'm like, all right, if you raise your hand, leave this room right now and move to LA and start doing it because if you wait until you have your 4-year liberal arts degree, which no one will care about, somebody else can be 4 years ahead of you,
I tell people the exact opposite. People reach out and they go, hey, how do I get into acting? And I go, stay where you are, make videos in your backyard.
Yes, that's
YouTube/TikTok. That's the way in now.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Anymore. You can be anywhere you want. And now they are hiring people based on, as they should. It's about fame. And the way to get fame is to create your own path. I mean, that's why when you were building your own stuff and we were talking about acting and stuff before, I go, dude, you're on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
No, that's
show today. I go, this is a sitcom. This is an ABC sitcom called Dude Dad, right? You can see it with Heidi and the kids and stuff. It feels like it writes itself. Talk about how you know what I love is the Chip Gaines challenge that you did.
Yeah.
Which dude, I mean, nobody worked harder. This is an amazing story that you kind of did to kind of get yourself into the Magnolia Network in a way.
Jamie, were we hanging out at that point when I made that video or did I just tell you about it retroactively?
No, we were. I think we were starting to you came on and did some podcasting stuff, but I remember that whole path and I was like, dude, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the story.
Okay. So, basically as I figured out that I could use my construction stuff and my, my building skills in my videos and make that a part of my brand, which we talked about a little bit. I had no idea what my brand was when I was first in LA trying to be an actor. I'm like, oh, I'm like Michael Cera or Joseph Gordon-Levitt or something. I'm like, nah, no. But like, now I get it. Like, now that I've been in it long enough, like, I'm like, okay, now I get what my branding is. But anyway, once I kind of figured out like, oh, this is a part of who I am, this is what makes me unique, I also was watching Fixer Upper being like, oh, Chip and Joanna are a lot like Heidi and I in that, we're this fun-loving couple. We probably have same demographics. Chip's this goofy, crazy, you never know what he's going to do kind of guy. That's kind of how I am. I'm like, I want to work with him. How cool would it be to do something with Chip, So I got this idea to challenge him to a playhouse building competition for charity. And I made this whole video basically calling him out for this challenge. And in the video, I use like all these like callbacks to their show Fixer Upper, where like, I jumped through a drywall wall. We had those, those things they pull apart at the end of every Fixer Upper episode, those giant photos of the house before, and they pull them apart and you can see the house after. So we did that with this playhouse, except we like fudged it for cameras. So like we used a lens, and my hair's doing all kinds of stuff. So we put like 2 8x10 photos really close to the lens. And then we put the camera at like f/22, so everything's in focus. And then Heidi and I stood way back here, so it looked like these things were huge and we were tiny and we're hanging on to them. So then before we open them up, we're like, you ready to see what the challenge is? And we run up and pull them apart, and now our faces are like right here next to them. It was hysterical. We're like, we didn't have the budget to go to full size. But they loved it. And so I got like a response from him on Twitter saying, yeah, let's do it. Let's do this challenge. And that snowballed into this whole other thing with all these other celebrities to raise all this money for St. Jude. So the Playhouse competition kind of went away because they wanted to get these other celebrities involved to raise more money, whatever. But then so it became this like who could raise the most money challenge.
Oh,
okay. So it's me, like, dude, dad
against.
Okay, yeah. And at the time, I probably had like maybe 200,000 followers. It might have been 100,000. I don't know. But I was against Chip, Lauren Daigle, J-Lo.
I was gonna say I knew J-Lo was in there.
J-Lo was in there. A-Rod. Drew Barrymore, Florida Georgia Line, Kevin Love, and a couple others. I don't remember. Those are all the biggest names I remember. But anyway, Casey Musgraves. Yeah, anyway. So it was just like me against like 9 Goliaths, like not David versus Goliath, me versus
like
9
any
Goliath.
of them could have just written a check and wiped you out.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like J-Lo could have just emptied her purse out and it would have buried you in money.
But the thing is, she didn't.
I know.
Like it was weird because so we're like, I start making all this different content and stuff, trying to push everybody I can to go donate money to St. Jude and everything. And what we realized is a lot of the celebrities that said yes, I don't even know if the celebrity knew that they said yes or their team just said yes and they sent out the one tweet or whatever. Because a bunch of them just didn't really raise that much money. So at the end of the day, like Chip's team, the Magnolia team, raised the majority of the money. They just crushed it. They raised the majority of the money. But then me and Lauren Daigle tied for second.
It's amazing. That's
potatoes for sure.
Exactly. I mean, it's
you
crazy.
Not have the following you do now. Now you could crush it. But back
I
then,
would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
you
at
really
the end of
worked
the
hard. I
day,
remember how hard you worked at it.
we raised $1.5 million for St. Jude altogether. So
amazing,
crazy. And then me and Heidi flew out to Memphis for a day. Literally, we went there and came back the same day. just to be there when Chip and Joanna did like the check ceremony to St. Jude, and like Chip called me out and told everybody about, you know, how this whole thing came to be, and told the whole story about me challenging him and everything. And that's when I got to meet him and Joe. Actually, I met him one time before that, but at this time, like, he was running around doing all this press stuff, and then like he pulled me and Heidi into this little room with him and Joanna and like 4 or 5 of their crew members and stuff, and he was like, "Has anybody told you yet?" I'm like, what's that, Chip? He's like, "I'm gonna make you famous." I'm like, "Oh yeah?" He's like, "I'm gonna put you on TV. We're gonna put a TV show together for you." And I was like, "All right, well that's convenient, because I have an idea for one that I was working on with a couple of friends." So that's, you know, and then over the course of, man, I think it was been like 2.5 years since then. Now we're finally gonna air it. So
that's just time. Everything takes that much time. But yeah, it's a great story, dude. I mean, it goes back to building it. If you build it, they will come, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It really did. So it was kind of
well.
Cool.
If that's any piece of advice that I can give to anybody that wants to, like, you know, work in entertainment or whatever it is you want to do, is like, first off, like, don't wait for permission. And
That's
second
like
off,
rule here.
yeah, second off, stop worrying about like, oh, am I doing, you know, do I have the right agent? Am I going to the right casting workshops? Am I getting myself out there? The reality is, if you're really good at what you do, I think, who's the guy from Breaking Bad? Oh my gosh.
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston said, "Be so good they can't ignore you."
Yeah.
And I love that. It's like, just do it and be really good at it. And eventually people won't be able to ignore you, because everyone will be like, what's this guy, you know?
Right.
So
I used to say they would have, you know, everyone's like, "Oh, if I had a better agent," I go, the agent gets only 10%, because you're supposed to do 90% of it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's really up to you, and that's why it's so amazing what you've kind of done. Hey, speaking of creations, how's Otto, number 3?
He's good. He's a good baby. Otto's a good baby. So we got an 8-week-old named Otto, and he, yeah, he's a good baby. He likes to move around a lot. You know, Heidi's pretty much got him on lockdown most of the time, because she's nursing and everything.
Right.
So my job has really been distracting the older two. You know, they're in summer school, or like, you know, preschool kind of stuff 4 days a week yet, which is super helpful. Right. But evenings, it's always like, okay, are we going to go down the creek and find crawdads? Are we going to go fishing? Are we going to go to the pool? Are we going to go on a bike ride? Like, whatever. But it seems like every single evening now is filled with some sort of like dad thing, just to keep them like occupied.
That's it. It's about killing time with them.
100%. That's what it is now.
We're going roller skating. We're going to the park. We're going swimming. We're going to do art. We're going to do everything with kids is like, how do I kill time? How do I kill time?
Yeah.
And obviously it turns out to be super fun, but you are trying to fill their day in a weird way.
Yeah. No, and honestly,
kids too.
What?
He's got 3.
What are the ages?
I have a 5-year-old boy and twin 2-year-old boys.
Oh, 2.
I was the same. I was like, ooh.
Dude, I
Honestly,
am barely hanging on.
But like, my daughter, when she was like 2, she was like so sweet and innocent and like kind, and like, and now at 3, well, she's almost 4 now. Really, it was like when the baby came is when she turned into a nightmare.
She's a middle child now, dude. She's Jan. Nobody wants to be Jan.
Nobody.
Claire, my youngest Claire, has told us many times, I don't want another child in this house. She's told us, I'm the baby. No more.
You cannot mess with a redhead that's has that strong a will at that young of age.
What's the
You're
difference
good.
between 2 and 3? Everyone always goes, "Oh, you're outnumbered now." But is it that monumental, or are you already like, what's the difference? I got 2. What's the difference?
No, it's an adjustment for sure. Just because they're at different stages too, so they require very different types of attention, you know. Like I think even back when you and I were doing that podcast, Jamie, I think my outlook was so much different than yours because my kids were still young enough that I could be like, yeah. Well, and also when you have two, it's easier to be like, hey babe, can I go out and do this? All right, cool, see ya. Right? Where when you have
You
three,
can't do that with 3.
you can't just drop a baby and 2 littles on her and be like, peace, you know, like we've done it to each other a few times, but we know that like you have to be selective and cautious about how you do that because it is a lot of work to take on all 3 of them at once, especially when we're still adjusting to it, you know?
Yeah, because he's 8 weeks old, right? So you're really still in the very, very beginning of this.
You see this? See these bags?
Actually, you don't look as tired as I thought you would. You kind of, because I know you're busting your ass and you're like have 3 kids, man. It's crazy.
Built a slip and slide today.
Did you really?
Built a slip and slide?
Yeah.
I think they sell slip and sides, don't they?
Yeah, well, if you're going to make a video about it, it'd be a pretty lame video if you went to Walmart and bought a slip and slide, brought it home.
Why not? So before I was bringing you in, dude, here's the difference at my, like Hannah is, she's going to 3rd grade. And all of a sudden she's like a real person. Like it's crazy. Mm-hmm. She has one of her teeth is like, you know, when it's almost out, you can push it all the way.
Yeah. So like she's like, yeah,
almost out. And, so my wife's out of town this week and I'm afraid, I got to do the tooth fairy. And so she's already done them a bunch, but she's a sneak. And so like last night she went to bed and I went under her pillow because she would pull it, hide it under her bed. And then in the morning when there's no money, she'd go like, I knew there was no tooth fairy. Like she would, I feel like she's going to wreck it for the other one.
Gosh.
So I have to wait till she goes to sleep and then I have to check like almost. Last night I pulled her mouth open while she was sleeping to make sure the tooth was still in her head.
Oh my God.
And she didn't wake up?
No, she's like, and I was like, it was this tooth right here. And so I just was, cause I'm like, God, I'm going to have to like be the tooth fairy. And my wife has done it. My wife has done it the whole time. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh dude, you're out of town I mean, I can't believe she's going to make it through tonight. It's still like it's been hanging on for 3 days. There's no way it makes it through the night.
Well, why don't you pull it?
We've tried to, and she won't let us. She's like, no. I think she's doing it deliberately because she wants to be sneaky about it.
Well, what you can do is you can give her the old, hey, listen, I talked to the tooth fairy. She said that she's running a special right now, and she's doing double for teeth on Wednesdays. So if we get it out today, baby girl, you can get twice as much.
That's brilliant.
Well, the worst. She lost her first tooth right at the beginning of the pandemic. We were in lockdown, and we didn't have anything under a 20.
Oh no! No, you're stuck.
Yeah. So her first tooth, she got $20 for because it was the only bill we had. And she was like, hey, look what I got. And then every tooth after that, she was like, where's my 20? And we were like, oh no, the tooth fairy only does. What? That's for very special
That's
teeth.
for the first tooth.
Was the tooth fairy from Beverly Hills filling in that week? Like what was going on there?
I don't know, dude. I don't know, but these are the things like every day you're like, where'd your day go? You're like, something happened with the kids and there went the day. That was what happened.
Yeah. It's like, well, one of them had a loose tooth and that could be that's a pilot right there. It's like, I'm
where's my day? To the bank at like 2 a.m. to hit the ATM to get some cash out. But the ATM only puts out 20s too. So then you're like, can I get a couple singles?
Can the tooth fairy send a Venmo?
Yeah. Hey, I was going to tell you, this is what I was talking about before we brought you in. So I recorded my album this weekend, right? And so I rented this rehearsal hall and I brought all the parents from my kids' school in to watch.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
It was super fun. And I filmed it and I'm going to put it out as a special in the fall. And so I did 2 seatings, a 7 o'clock and a 9 o'clock, right? And the 7 o'clock were all the people, they had like one drink and they were, they watched and they were like super helpful. And And then the Late Show. These people are all parents of like second graders, and they were like frat party drunk. Like I had to restart bits over and over again because they were so messed up that they were like standing up and walking around. Like it was like the pandemic, like people forgot how to drink.
Oh, sure.
And they started tailgating at like 5 PM, and then the show was at 9. And I believe there was some illicit things happening or something. I don't want to say anything, but I was like, wow.
You got parents out of the house one night, and they were like, this is our night. This is, and they're like,
do you guys see that with your friends? It's like, we always have those friends who are like, I remember when I was single and my married friends at one night a year, and they'd be like, well, I'm only out once a year, so I'm going to drink an entire year's worth of alcohol in one night.
It's once you get to that point where you're like, well, I haven't gotten to like go out in months, you know? So then when you finally get that opportunity where it's that perfect storm of like, you've got a babysitter, you know, staying overnight, or they're at the grandparents or whatever, and you've got the hotel room or whatever it is and the taxi and all that. And you're like, we can do whatever we want, you know, but you also, you know, haven't done it in forever, and you're not the same body that you were when you used to party or whatever.
That's what I thought.
You know? So like
you are not in game shape by any measure. No.
And it also, like, the other thing is too, for the most part, and I felt this way too, of like, yeah, we're gonna go have a great time tonight. And then you're like, you know what, I'm really tired. I'm so tired.
These guys got there and they were like, hey, we got margaritas, and they were like brought their own margaritas to the show.
Wait,
so
they pre-made them?
Margarita, and I was like, I have another show to do. I'm going to try to be professional here for a second. I'm trying to record an album, and they were just drinking Fireball. Like these are grown men with children drinking Fireball, and they couldn't be quiet. I had to like throw one dude.
But you know what? Like, let them have it, because it's their one night. They're like, Jamie, you don't understand. We gave you our one night. Like, we could have went on a trip, but no, we're here at your comedy special. Which, by the way, I finally just figured out how to share this thing. I tried to share it right away when I got on, but it didn't work very well. And I just did it straight from your page. So we got like a bump of viewers here. So maybe like explain people who you are.
Oh my gosh, I just see it, dude. Holy cow, my brother.
I was concerned because I thought we were being attacked in a spam thing again from India. It's been happening to us.
Yeah, no.
Now we may have to keep you a couple extra minutes now that we have everybody watching.
I feel bad because I shared the link that you sent me in the email, but it doesn't pop up on Facebook the same as the way if you just push the share button, and I should have known that. But I've pushed the share button now. So
let me ask you, you're a South Dakota kid, right?
I am.
Are you proud of your state?
Yeah, geez, hard questions. Like, South Dakota is an amazing place to grow up, and I loved growing up there, and it's gorgeous there, and there's a lot of things that I still love about South Dakota.
Well, let's see how much you know about South Dakota.
Oh, you brought South Dakota trivia?
He has been so excited about this all day.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's do it. South Dakota.
There's a little South Dakota trivia for, honestly, if somebody asked me questions about New Hampshire, I'd probably fail miserably, but I think South Dakota is so interesting. There's like under a million people there.
And here's what I love about being from South Dakota is that, you know, if you go anywhere else, it kind of makes you stand out because no one's from South Dakota.
No one's from there.
There's like 800,000 people in the whole state. The largest city is 170,000 people. The second largest city is 60,000 people.
Bit of a jump.
Yeah, a bit of a jump. Yeah.
And yet you still have 2 senators. The whole system's a little flawed. Let's just. Who are the 4 faces on Mount Rushmore?
Okay, Washington, Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, and oh no, I know. He's like the second dude. The second dude, Jefferson.
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice.
And very, very close to that is Crazy Horse, which is a privately funded sculpture of a Native American chief called Crazy Horse, who I believe jumped his horse over this like gorge, and that's what he's like known for. But it's because he has had a crazy horse. But it's only like maybe like 30% done, and they've been like working on it for like 50 years.
Funny.
That it's been that at that same thing, but it's way bigger. It's way bigger than Mount Rushmore.
Really?
It's way bigger. Yeah.
Oh, Sheena, thank you. Since
Don't tell him stuff like that, because then I have to deal with it.
Who was the sculptor for Mount Rushmore?
I don't remember his name, but I do know that he was a friend of Teddy Roosevelt's, and that is why Teddy is on the mountain.
I always wondered why he was on it.
That is why.
He doesn't stand out terribly well.
No, because he was like buddies with the guy.
Was a cool dude.
Yeah, he was like buddies with the guy that was like in charge of the project, and it was probably he was president somewhere around the time that it started going up, right?
Yeah, he was
That's
like,
why.
how about Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln?
Can you imagine
one more? There's a spot for one more. What about me? What about me?
Exactly. Can you imagine though if it's like happening today and it's like all of the like the most profound presidents of our lifetime or of the lifetime of our country, and then we're just like, well, and Biden because he's president right now, and you just throw him up on there, and for like centuries after this, people are like,
and Joe Biden.
And they're like, yeah, he did this, and then Biden, well, he's there.
His name is Guzan Berglum.
That does sound familiar.
Sounds sketchy. All right, this city in South Dakota is the geographical center of the United States.
Wait, what?
I know, right? I think it's because Alaska goes way out, and so that's the geographical center.
And Hawaii's way far down.
Oh, I don't know.
If that's the case, I'm gonna put it down. What's that town down there? I'm gonna say it's Yankton.
Belfouche. Well, South Dakota is such a tough state. Do the people from Belfouche go like, I'm from Belfouche?
I am from Belfouche.
It means beautiful fork, by the way, in French.
Yeah, no, nobody says that.
This celebrity who played Daisy Duke from the Dukes of Hazzard is from South Dakota. What is her name?
I used to know her name. I don't anymore. Is it start with an L? No, I don't know.
Catherine Bach. But name some other famous people from South Dakota. One was on Entertainment Tonight. One was on the NBC News.
What's her name? What's that?
Did one of the kids escape?
One famous person from South Dakota besides you. That's why I Googled it to be like, I feel like eventually you're going to be the most famous person from South Dakota.
There's that swimsuit model. Jenna Jameson?
Oh.
Dude, okay. That's exactly how innocent he is. Anyone who's watching this, I'm pretty sure everybody
does he not know? Does he not know? Or was he being polite?
I don't know. Were you being polite, or do you not know who Jenna Jameson is?
She's from South Dakota, isn't she?
Yeah. Oh, she's from South Dakota, but
is she, Jason?
What?
Well, you were being a smart ass about.
But you know
what she does for
her career really. Yes.
Yeah, no, she's modeled a swimsuit or two for a very brief time, and then she unmodels the swimsuit, and then she models another person. I believe is that how that's explained, Jason?
How about Cheryl Ladd?
Cheryl Ladd is from there. She's a swimsuit model, sure.
So is January Jones.
It's January Jones.
January Jones. You meant January Jones, and you said Jenna Jameson, dude.
Yeah, I did. those names are like interchangeable in my head. I don't know.
I don't like stepping on the guest's toes, so I didn't want to call him on it.
January Jones. That's it.
I'm sure there's a fake photo online where the two of them have become one, is my guess. Y'all are terrible, says that. Yes, and we are terrible. We're dads. That's why we are.
Welcome to the show.
Being as cleanly terrible as humanly possible, I believe. I believe we're...
Yes.
For us, this is fairly well behaved.
Yeah.
My accent?
Let's ask the guest. Where's Jenna Jameson from? Let's see in the comments anytime soon.
Apparently not South Dakota.
No, I don't.
Bill Janklow, is he a celebrity? He was our governor for a while, so he's kind of a big name for a while.
Mary Hart. I would have accepted Mary Hart of Entertainment Tonight, and I also would have accepted Tom Brokaw, NBC News.
Oh, Tom Brokaw. Yeah. He had a run.
This cowboy was shot dead in the town of Deadwood, South Dakota.
Oh. Ugh. I don't know. One of those famous cowboys. Billy the Kid?
His name's Bill.
Bill. Oh, Wild Bill?
Yes. Wild Bill Hickok. Absolutely.
Wild Bill Hickok.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have
you been to Deadwood? What's Deadwood like? Is it cool?
Okay. Imagine Hollywood Boulevard in South Dakota.
It is, right?
It's like every single one of those places. It's any of those tourist traps. It's like there's a couple of really cool things. Like in the Black Hills, it's the mountains. The Black Hills are gorgeous, right? And then you'll have like a couple of like cool places to go eat or something. And then the rest is just tourist garbage.
You can't go anywhere. Same with my home state, New Hampshire. Like, I feel like when I grew up, there were all these little pockets of places that were like, oh my gosh, look, this exists.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's been so touristized that there's nowhere to go. It's all like a Gap. There's a mall.
$5 T-shirts, you know? Like,
I love when people go to Hollywood Boulevard. Like, I have friends who come to visit and they go, hey, I thought we'd go to Hollywood Boulevard. And I was like, unless you're homeless, I don't feel like that's a place for us to be. But yeah.
Yeah.
What was the hand that Wild Bill Hickok had when he was shot? It's called a dead man's hand in poker.
Oh.
It's pretty famous. It's a dead man's hand. Let's see in the comments. Who knows what a dead man's hand is?
Is it 2 aces? I don't know.
It's a full house, I'll tell you that.
Okay. Oh, so it's like 2 aces and 3 kings?
It's aces and eights. Aces and eights was dead.
Aces and eights.
Hey, what exactly is a corn palace?
Do you
I have no idea.
You need me to explain? I can explain that one for sure. So the Corn Palace is most famously known as the place where I won 5th grade state wrestling at 60 pounds.
What?
Back up.
Yes.
What?
I was a grappler. Pretty good.
Really?
I was pretty scrappy. Yeah. So in 5th grade, okay, so first back up. The Corn Palace is a event center, gymnasium event center. If a big comic comes to Mitchell, South Dakota, they're going to play the Corn Palace. Okay.
Honestly, I thought it was like I thought it was like a place where corn was.
It is a palace that is decorated with ears of corn. I shit you not. And like growing up there, my mom or my grandma lived in Mitchell, so we'd go by it like every weekend and be like, oh yeah, the Corn Palace, what are they doing with it this summer? Oh, that's cool. You know, because they redecorate it every summer. They redo the murals. It's like murals that are made out of maize, which is Native American corn. So it's different colors and stuff, and they can make murals with it, right?
I was concerned at first because I was like, is it structurally made of corn? Because like you get a heat wave and you're going to have popcorn everywhere.
Decorated. But then like straight out of Aladdin, it has like the palace dome things on top. If you haven't seen it, you have to Google it because like it's one of those things where it takes you decades to grow up and go like, wait, what? That's not normal. I grew up thinking that was normal. That's not normal. But it's so cool. But it's a gymnasium, so they would have state wrestling there. So when I made it to state at 5th grade, I was 60 pounds. I won state wrestling in the Corn Palace.
I'm not allowed to speak. Justin Santoro, it said, just let Dude Dad talk.
We'll let him talk and we'll show the... Is this it?
That's it. That is the Corn Palace. Isn't it gorgeous? I mean, it's just...
Wow.
Yeah, you're just like, wait, what?
Dude, it kind of looks like India. It looks like the Taj Mahal a little bit. It looks like a weird gambling casino.
It's the South Dakota Taj Mahal, but it's just like inside, it's just like an event center. It's there's concessions, there's stadium seating, and there's a basketball court or whatever you're gonna put down there. There's a stage if you want to go watch Williams and Ree. Okay. Do you know who Williams and Ree are? Oh, there's another famous person from South Dakota, but maybe they're only famous in South Dakota. Williams and Ree, the Indian and the white guy. That was they were a comedy duo called the Indian and the white guy. Jenna Jameson, Corn Palace. What has this turned into? Yeah, we've gone down some roads here.
And the one dude got angry at us. He's like, hey, just let dude dad talk. Some guy really likes you, man. Some guy really likes you. All right, here's the speed round. You ready? Here's the speed round, and we'll get out of the South Dakota phase. What's the state insect?
The pheasant. No, it's probably the mosquito.
It should be.
Hold on.
That's the New Hampshire state bird is the mosquito.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Is it the honeybee or something?
No. Honeybee. One for one.
Yeah, nice.
State animal.
Oh, state animal. I know the state bird is the pheasant.
It is.
Okay.
But it's the Chinese ring-necked pheasant, which is weird. Chinese necked pheasant.
Also, that makes total sense that's like definitely something that we were like, hey, you know what? I think this would live really good here.
Right? Some dude was working the railroad, and they brought the Chinese guys.
The Chinese ringneck
pheasant, and all of a sudden now the pheasants are everywhere.
What a cultural melting pot South Dakota is.
Yeah, it's a melting pot for Chinese ringneck pheasants.
Yes, it is. That's
and Corn Palace.
State animal. Take a shot.
Coyote.
Yes.
Oh.
Bird, you got 3 for 3. State mineral.
Oil. There's a state mineral. Who came up with these things?
I don't know. It's the rose quartz. The state tree. What's the state tree?
Elm.
Black Hills spruce.
Oh yeah, that makes way more sense.
When did they get statehood?
Oh, was it even in the 1800s?
Yes,
probably not. It is.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say 1891.
Oh, dude, 89.
Wow, well done,
man. 2 years easily. Yep.
Yeah, we'll take that.
What's the state fish?
The walleye.
Yes!
Dude is on fire.
What's the state dessert?
The
only reason I asked this is because I'd never heard of it. I still don't know what it is really.
I think it's got to be one of those weird German ones.
It is.
The
Kuchen?
Oh, the Kuchen. Yeah.
Somebody knew it. Ginny knew it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The Kuchen. There you go. Nice work.
Like the Kraken.
What is it?
It's a German thing. But here's the thing. Like I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but my family was never into Kuchen. Like we had our own thing. We have this thing in my mom's family called Doomies that's like been passed down. It's like a fried breakfast thing. It's basically just anything that you could. It's a combination of all the stuff that they had on the farm: flour, eggs, milk. Mix it together, fry it, pour syrup over it, serve for breakfast. But nobody else knows what it is. So that's my version of Kuchen. But I've definitely heard people talk about Kuchen.
So they must have a crazy state fair because I've done.
Oh my wow! That is delicious looking.
Absolutely delicious. That looks like a little.
It's a little cheesecakey looking.
Dude, yeah. I have not had Kuchen. I need to have some Kuchen.
Oh, we gotta get somebody send me some
Kuchen.
Does anybody have
it reminds me of like a state fair when I did shows so many times at state fair with all the blue collar guys, Bill Engvall and Larry the Cable Guy and stuff, and they would just go. They would take whatever and just deep fry it, right? Like Snickers bar, you're like
Twinkie,
funnel cake. You're like Kuchen reminds me of that a little bit. All right, your last question. What's the state sport?
Is it? I mean,
It's not BMX, I'll tell you that.
I know. It's probably. Oh, is it baseball?
No.
It's football.
It's South Dakota. What's the state sport of South Dakota?
Is it pheasant hunting?
No, but that actually would be my second guess.
I
think people just don't think of it as a sport. It's rodeo.
Rodeo?
Somebody, Elizabeth guessed that.
Elizabeth
okay.
also got it. Wait, is Elizabeth from?
Yeah, from the Marvel movie. Scarlet Witch is in the chat tonight.
But is she from South Dakota? Because she knew every question.
Wow.
Yeah, she nailed it, man. That's so funny, dude.
But here's the funny thing about pheasant hunting, and I'm gonna try to go back this year to go pheasant hunting because I haven't been in forever. It's like my dad's favorite thing ever. So it'd be a lot of fun to go back and shoot some birds with him. But it is South Dakota's #1 industry.
I totally can see that. I would have said
tourism. It's the tourism that comes with pheasant hunting of all the out-of-state hunters coming to South Dakota just to shoot pheasants.
I would have thought fly fishing. Is fly fishing big there with the walleye?
No. Fly fishing is going to be your stream fish. That's a lake. Walleye is a lake fish or a river fish. So yeah, if you're going to go fly fishing, you're going for like trout and things like that. And you could probably do some fly fishing West River in the more mountainous side, but East River is all flat farmland. That's where your walleyes are.
Dude, you got a lot of them right. You got more right than I would have got about New Hampshire. I was going to quiz you on like parenthood, and I was like, let's go straight South Dakota. I just love the fact that you're from South. It's so unique, man. I just think it's really
you don't hear about it very much.
What's funny now is like if I meet someone from South Dakota, it's always like, oh, cool. Let's look each other up on Facebook, and we'll see who we know together because you always have mutual friends. If you're both from South Dakota, you have mutual friends, 100%.
Not even a question. I'm from New Hampshire. It's similar. Like anytime from New Hampshire, they go, "Hey, did you used to go drink at the Rock Quarry when you were in high school?" Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, we were there at the same exact time. Yeah, exactly. Drive-in theater. Yeah, that was there. Yeah, it's funny.
That's funny.
Well, listen, man, we went longer than we wanted to. I can't thank you for coming on enough and sharing it, and all your people came in here and stuff. And that one dude yelled at me. He said, "Let Taylor talk."
Hey, it's your show. You don't have to. Apparently, you just comment up on the screen.
Now it's Doodad's Parent Lounge from now on.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Tell people really quick. I know it's July 15th. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, it really is. It was so inspirational.
You're going to be doing it for a while. The first episode I saw was just gorgeous. I mean, it was
Keep going.
He was a widower.
Yeah, recently widowed, dude. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Such a nice guy, though. Yeah.
He seemed so genuine. Like the whole thing was just such a great feel-good thing.
Yeah, so that's been the big part of this show that we've made it a part of it. And I have a really great showrunner. His name's Carlos, and he keeps that ship online. But the one thing he said from the very beginning is like, there is no drama in this show. This show doesn't have drama. This show is a feel-good show. We got all kinds of story to tell and like these people to meet and learn from. And we have these cool structures to build. We don't need drama. This is a dramaless show, and which, like, your storytelling would go like, oh, wait, doesn't there have to be some sort of like, thing that you're working against or you're trying to overcome? And nowadays, I don't think that's true because we have so much of that everywhere else, especially in reality television where so much of it is fabricated, where it's like, even when it doesn't need to be, where they're just like, uh-oh, we're not going to have enough lumber to finish the garage. Dun, dun, dun. Commercial break. And then like comes back from commercial. Oh, we went out. We bought some more lumber. Oh, good. Oh, we had more at the store. Oh, like we don't do any of that bullshit. We just, meet real people and, you know, and have enjoyable conversations with them while building these really cool structures, and then show them off to the kids that are ultimately going to lose their mind because it's, you know, way more than they would have ever expected.
Dude, if you would come out this way again, please help me build a climbing wall in my backyard. I wanted my kids to have the climbing wall in the back, but
I'm also going to need some superhero-y stuff for my boys, so I got to pick your brain.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there's lots of resources online as well to get you going these days, which is helpful. But I can definitely lend you some ideas.
You know, dude, we talked about it years ago about the fact like moms have they have so many different support groups, like, you know, just from shows like The View. You know, there's so many different things where they connect. And even the way you talked about your people, how the dads find you, it's like the mom. Yeah. And they have their group. But I really think you're at the forefront of this whole thing about the fact that even when we talk to other dads, we're so honest about the troubles that we're going through that it makes us all understand we're all in the same boat. And I think women have that group where they can kind of commiserate. And I don't think guys have it yet. And it's starting to build. And it's really, you're at the forefront of that, of like bringing dudes in to go, hey man, we're all struggling to get through this thing. We're hanging on by a thread. And from your show, it really was heartwarming about like letting other dads know when you watch it and go, hey, we're all trying to get through this thing. And this is one kind of thing. And it was really great.
I also really admire that, you know, you include your entire family in everything you do, from from Otto to Heidi. Everybody is involved. And that's such a great thing, because there are so many parents who are not directly involved with their kids or avoid it entirely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a conscious decision as well with the show, because that I was like adamant about right away. And Carlos, the showrunner, got on board with me too, because, you know, like as you're trying to figure out how to structure a show and like, how do you fill 22 minutes? What can fit in that and what cannot? You know, because my wife isn't a designer. She's not a builder or anything. So it wasn't natural to like put her in, you know, helping me build these structures, because it's just not real. Right. But what she is an amazing support system, an amazing partner, an amazing mom. And I was like, well, you can't, you know, tee me up to be like this dad that like does it all and helps all these other dads and blah, 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 and not actually show me being a dad, you know, like that's what sets it all up. Like if I'm just some guy, you know, then it's a different show, because it's not, because the show's not about, you know, just, I already said the whole thing about, it's not about building structures, it's about building memories, but it's also just about like men talking about fatherhood in 2021. You know, so much of it is just like me and the dad sitting there having these conversations that haven't been had publicly, you know?
My father never had that conversation with anyone on earth. He was in his own head with like, why do I have 6 kids? This is insane every night. He never had a group to chat with where other guys go, dude, we're going through the exact same thing. And it really, especially during the pandemic, when I talked to other people and did shows and stuff, people would go, oh, dude, here's my nightmare story. And you go like, oh, I feel a little bit better. This you know, company and misery, where it's like, you know, it is.
For sure. Yeah.
So whether it really serves a purpose that way. I love it.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about it. And we're excited to see how people receive it. It's just strange to, you know, it seems like so long ago that we've filmed it now, and it's just now about to be released, you know, but we all have like an idea of like what it is, but until like we get it out there, we have no idea how people will respond or who's going to care, or, you know.
Oh, people are going to love it. Yeah. I was hooked.
Oh, that's awesome.
I want to let you go because we kept you way over time, and I know you have little kids and you're tired and you need some
They're
sleep.
all sleeping now, Jamie. This is my time now.
All right. Huge thank you, dude. I love you, brother.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on. Please come on anytime.
Thank you, guys.
It was super fun. All right, let's get him on here. Thanks,
all
buddy.
right.
All right, Taylor. That was amazing, dude. Super fun.
Right?
I don't drag it out anymore. Super fun show, Jason. Really fun. So thanks to everyone who came in. We're here every Tuesday. We have, our last few weeks have been Richard Marks, Claire Kramer, Carrie Clifford. Like, we always have these great guests, and Dad was one of our better ones. It was great. So it's super fun to have everybody. Jason, any words of wisdom before we say goodnight?
No, I think it's so great though that we're giving it out there that there are dads and parents who are so involved with their kids. And I think that's one of the special things about this show is you get to see that from, I mean, you can tell that Taylor is involved with his kids from the videos he posts, but it's just such a great, he's such a great guy. And you can tell from like the time he opens his mouth to the time he left, feel good the whole way.
To be honest, dude, he's kind of a jerk. I mean, he's setting this crazy bar that the rest of us have to try to live up to. And you're like, dude, stop being perfect. You know,
well, it's not going to happen on this show.
Blow it. So, all right. Hey, listen, thanks to everybody. Come find us on the Parents Lounge, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere we are. I guess. Twitch. And that's it. If you have suggestions for guests that we should have on, please let us know, and any responses. And we're going to cut this up and share some of Taylor's stuff as we try to promote his show coming out. It's an awesome show. Discovery Plus, Magnolia Network, Super Dad. So go check it out. Jason, you got anything?
Nope. Good night, everybody.
See you guys next week, Tuesdays.